Good afternoon, and welcome to today's Side by Side with the Division of Mental Health, Developmental Disabilities, and Substance Use Services, Improving Our System Together monthly webinar. Before we get started, here are a few reminders about the webinar technology. Please make sure you're using a computer or smartphone connected to the internet, and the audio function is on and the volume is turned up. Please be sure your microphone is muted for the duration of the call. Questions can be submitted anytime during the presentation using the Q&A feature located on your control pad. American Sign Language interpreters and closed captioning options are available for today's event. The American Sign Language interpreters for today are Danette Stillman Bridges and Ernest Williams. For closed captioning options, select the closed caption feature located on your dashboard. To adjust your video layout and screen view, select the View feature located in the top right-hand corner of your screen and choose the view that works best for you. Today's agenda topics include introductions and MH, SU, IDD, TBI system announcements and updates. Our focus today is a year in review of the DMH DD SUS strategic plan. At this time, I would like to turn it over to Kelly Crosby, Director of the Division of Mental Health, Developmental Disabilities, and Substance Use Services.
Hello, everyone. Happy New Year. It's great to see you all. Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you for dealing with our schedule change. We actually pushed this out a few weeks because we wanted to make sure that we were prepared. It's taken a long time to evaluate our work. When I say our, I mean our collective work over the past year. And so we wanted to do a good job of giving you an overview today. So my name is Kelly Crosby. For those of you that haven't met me, I do have the privilege of being the director of the Division of Mental Health, Developmental Disabilities, and Substance Use Services. I've been in this field for over 30 years. I've been at the department here at the division, but also at the State Medicaid Agency for over 14 years. I am a licensed clinical social worker, and I am proudly a person with lived experience. Next slide, please. So today I'm going to talk about our strategic plan. I'm going to do a quick recap. I'm also going to hit a quick highlight on each of the priority areas, a highlight of progress this year. But then most importantly, I'm going to introduce this whole array of special guests, people who have made these projects a reality. Something I do want to say, let's go to the next slide with some of the framing comments around the strategic plan. So first, I want to make sure that folks know, because this is really important. This isn't like our agency's strategic plan. This isn't what this is. When you say DMH DDSUS, that means our system. It means our system, our public system that supports people with mental health, intellectual and developmental disabilities, traumatic brain injury, substance misuse, and problem gambling. It is about our public system. And even though we call it a strategic plan, in law, it's actually called the state plan. So as a reminder, we're required by law under 122C, I know that's our favorite legislation, y'all, we're required to have a state plan that identifies where our areas for growth are in the public system and to set clear objectives for reaching an improved system. So we got to work. When I started this job 3 years ago, I had the privilege of getting to know you all better. I've known you for many years, but getting to know you all better, getting to know our service delivery system and all of its complicated funding mechanisms better, getting to know where some of our really big pain points were in the system. And together we put together a plan for our public system, not for this division, but for our joint public system, for our community. And that's what this plan is. We got feedback and public comments from so many of you. I want to acknowledge that from consumers, families, provider organizations, community-based organizations, our wonderful LME MCO partners. And we're very grateful for that feedback. So just reminding you, we first published this in September of 2024. And this is the first year where we're going to walk through the outcomes. How do we do in the first year of our state plan, our joint combined state plan? Next slide, please. So what does the strategic plan include? So just as a reminder, we have a vision for the system, a mission, and then we have core principles. So people, like, funnily enough, people didn't necessarily know what our role was at the division. And you've known us for years, right? What was our role at the division? Part of it is this plan, and then helping to carry out this plan with the whole community here in North Carolina. And we came up with a new vision statement, which is really critical. It reminds us of why we do everything that we do here, how we spend our time, our resources, our financial resources, what we advocate for. It's really for one thing. We want communities where everyone is supported to live happier and healthier lives, period, hard stop. And obviously, our focus is very specifically on people with mental health, intellectual and developmental disabilities, substance misuse, traumatic brain injury, and problem gambling. That's our community. And we think we do everything here because our ultimate goal is that community, our community. People deserve, and we should do everything in our power to make them support them in having healthier and happier lives. We do talk about specific groups that we prioritize. I think, and I think it's well documented, that our community is largely marginalized. But even within our community, people that have dual diagnosis, people that are in communities where English is their second language, people who are deaf and hard of hearing, our veterans, those are communities that have further barriers to our vision, which is a happy and healthy life. So we wanted to make sure that we are focusing our time, energy, attention, and being mindful of those further marginalized communities. We established 7 priorities. I'm going to talk about those 7 priorities, remind you of what they are. And we also established our measure dashboard. I'm going to show you some measures today, but anytime you want, go out to our dashboard. We want to be incredibly transparent about what we're spending our time on, what our goals are, and if we're making progress or not towards our goals. This is our system, and we want to be accountable to you about how we're moving our system forward. So let's review those 7 priority areas, okay? Oh, for those of you that are coming to I, tomorrow I'm actually going to be going through this in a little more detail. You're going to miss the awesome speakers we have today, which kind of sucks, but I'll be sharing this plus more. I'll be sharing some more data tomorrow at I. So just reminding you of our 7 goals, and then I'm going to talk about 1 achievement in each of our areas. And then I'm going to turn it over to our guest speakers. So our first priority in the strategic plan was increasing access to care. In all of these, we had many, many programmatic interventions. So this is very high level. We wanted to focus on increasing treatment initiation and retention. Fancy words, but all that it means is there's so many people who aren't at all even getting a first service. And then when people do come for a first service, many of them are never coming back. That's a problem. 1 in 4 people have mental health issues. 1 in 6 people have substance misuse. Over 200,000 people in North Carolina have intellectual and developmental disabilities. We don't even know the breadth of traumatic brain injury. Problem gambling, are noticing it and treating it. Numbers are on the rise. We do not have a rising number of people in treatment and staying in treatment. So we've got to focus on that. We wanted to focus on whole person care or integrated care. People getting care when they go to their primary care doc, or vice versa, when they come to our mental health substance use IDD clinics, that they're getting physical health care as well. And then remember, I say this all the time as a family member, right? Our clinical services and our supports are incredibly important. What our providers do is of extreme importance. 98% of the rest of a person's life is spent with their family and in their community. So we need to make sure that we have equipped families and communities. That was our 3rd goal. Our 2nd priority focused on IDD and TBI. Quite simply, we wanted more people getting access to IDD services, TBI services, and our favorite service here in North Carolina is community living supports, whether you're on the waiver or whether you're on Medicaid and you're getting mapped through the 1915I option. We want more people in that very popular service that really is that supported direct care worker that can help you have a very meaningful life in your home and in your community. So that particular service and increasing access to it was a focus for us. Number 3, of course, we want to prevent substance misuse and overdose. So we're very focused on increasing primary prevention and engagement in prevention, but also early intervention services. And we want to increase access to evidence-based substance use treatment. For us, that means medications for opioid use disorder, but it also means that our adolescents are getting access to evidence-based care because we don't have enough access for adolescents here in North Carolina. Our 4th priority was building the workforce, and we tried to look at the whole span, right? Peer workforce, we've done so much in that space. Love peers, y'all. Our direct support professionals, first line, incredibly important. Don't have enough. Getting more licensed professionals willing to come and stay in the public system. And then lastly, making sure we have more supports and career pathways for unlicensed professionals, our QPs, our APs, our paras. They provide the bulk of our services and they have the least amount of formal training. We don't really even have certification programs. We need to work on that. We've made a lot of progress. On the next slide, we have priority 5, 6, and 7, I believe. So priority 5, strengthening our crisis system. So making sure people even know how to connect to mental health and substance use crisis care. They know where to go, they know who to call. They know about 988, they know where they can go to a urgent care, they know where they can go to a facility-based crisis. Increasing timely access to mobile crisis care. So mobile crisis gets there so folks don't have to call 911, so we don't have to have law enforcement responding to a mental health crisis. And we want people to start using our community crisis facilities. We need more of them. We've built more of them. But we need people to know where they are instead of going to the emergency room. Priority 6, this is a big focus right now. Right now because of several tragedies here in North Carolina. We need to expand services for individuals who are involved in the justice system. That means more deflection and diversion. Let's get people into treatment before issues escalate. Let's get them into treatment instead of in jail. Get them the treatment that they need. Let's increase successful re-engagement in the community when folks are coming home from jail or prison. Let's make sure they have housing, they have community supports, and they have good access to treatment. Let's make sure that we have more evidence-based treatment for justice-involved youth. This one's really tough. Families really struggle, youth really struggle once they get involved in the juvenile justice system, whether they're in a YDC, so youth detention center, whether they're in the community. Kids aren't getting the right level of supports that they or their families need because we want them in the treatment system, and then we want them to have good, wonderful lives, not to remain in the justice system. And lastly, we need more access to capacity restoration. Remember, those are the folks who got arrested, but have a very severe mental health issue. They can't even go to court. And people were spending long times incarcerated, waiting for that necessary treatment while they were incarcerated. So that was a focus for us. And lastly, we were focused on kind of what's been historically one of our core missions here, which is recovery and community-based services. So we think people with the most serious mental health and substance use issues should be able to live in the community and thrive in the community, not remain in institutions. That's honestly what this goal is all about. So we want to make sure that first one, early detection and recovery services, these are the young people. These are the teenagers and young adults who have their first episode of psychosis. Are we getting them and their family treatment? When we do, y'all, when we do, in the 5 programs we have across the state, these kids go on to finish high school, go to college, get their own apartment, get jobs, and they live a full life. That was not available to them 30 years ago, and it should be. So we need to make sure more kids early and often have access to treatment. Second, we want to grow recovery supports of all kind, peer support centers, living rooms, wellness centers, peer respites, recovery community organizations. We need them everywhere. People need a place, a therapeutic place to go. Clubhouses. Where do you see our new announcement coming out on clubhouses? We believe in clubhouses. It's an evidence-based model that almost died here in North Carolina. But people that go to clubhouses find community, they find recovery, they stay in community, they aren't in crisis, and we love Clubhouse. And then lastly, we've been working very hard on kids who end up in psychiatric residential treatment facilities. And we're working on improving the higher caliber of treatment in those facilities, but we're also trying to make sure, if at all possible, we can avoid having kids in PRTFs, just avoid it. Let's get them into treatment foster care or in a family-based treatment or a community-based treatment with wraparound services. Or if they are in residential care, make sure it's high quality. And when they come home, let's make sure they get all the wraparound that they need. Next slide. So I am down to 3 minutes and I'm gonna do it. So the purpose of the annual report, honestly, it's a couple things. It's to tell you how we did, but to also tell you what we're gonna tee up for next year. We're not changing things, y'all. You don't make a plan and then change it every year, but we are taking a quality improvement mindset, right? We're looking at the places where we're doing well, where we spent a lot of energy. We'll keep on going there. Places that need a little tweaking, We'll tweak them a little bit. We'll measure that needs tweaking. We'll tweak it a little bit, but we're gonna move forward with these priorities. They are the right priorities for the system. So the annual report is going to tell you how we did, and it's going to tell you any places we need to make any shifts. Okay, next slide. So let's talk about progress. Next slide is just this wonderful little snapshot. Do you know how many press releases we have had this year with you all? Accomplishments of things that have happened this year. I've been at the state for almost 15 years. It has been one of the hardest years, and I'm very sorry it's been a hard year, everyone. I know it's not been a hard year for everybody. I respect that. Some people thought some of the changes that were happening were good and well-intentioned. For many people, it was a year of high stress. Changes to Medicaid benefits, Medicaid funding, changes to federal funding and other programs like WIC and SNAP, the elimination of different federal grants. It was a hard year for many people, and I'm sorry for that. I do want you to know, though, that despite that, you have made a significant amount of progress. These are just a few of our snapshots. And in my last minute, I'm going to highlight one lovely thing from each of our, I think I am. Could you go to the next slide? I think I'm going to highlight one thing. Yes, key accomplishment. So priority one, access to care. We've expanded access to our certified community behavioral health clinics by 65%. What is a CCBHC, you ask? If you're not one, you may not even know, but stay tuned. Priority two, IDD and TBI services. We saw a 20% increase in the number of people receiving services. And these are people on the waiting list waiting for a slot. Over 2,000 more people got home and community-based services, which is extraordinary and much needed. Priority three, preventing substance misuse and overdose. Last year, we purchased over 700,000 doses of naloxone, and hopefully you know what naloxone is. It saves your life when you overdose. We're distributing it everywhere, getting it out in new and novel ways, and saving lives. Our overdose rates went down dramatically last year, not just because of naloxone, because of many things. We should be very proud of that. Priority four, we launched, with your help, with our peer advisory group, we launched a statewide unified peer support curriculum. And we also launched a huge, it's called the Public Service Leadership Program. And that is creating a pathway across 25 schools of social work to get licensed folks coming into the public system. Next slide. Okay. For strengthening the crisis system, we've opened in partnership with counties, providers, and LMEs, okay? Remember, we didn't do any of this alone, we did it together. We launched 6 new behavioral health urgent cares BHECs and a new facility-based crisis, which is at least 8 more beds, if not 16 more beds in the community. You'll be seeing more coming this year. Services for people in the justice system. We now have 3 capacity restoration sites. We increased people who were getting services in these by over 100%. So people, again, they're able to get mental health treatment instead of being incarcerated for a long time so they can move through the justice system. And lastly, we're super proud of this. We've been able to fund and support a lot more peer-led centers across the state. And we've seen a 27% increase in the number of folks who have access to and are going to peer-led programs in their communities now. These are just snippets of the wonderful work that has happened. So what I'm going to do now is go to the next slide. And I'm going to show you some of the wonderful people that are making these magical things happen. Next slide. This is all of them. Each of them are going to come on and they're going to share their program. They each have 5 minutes apiece. I'm going to let them introduce themselves and tell you all about their wonderful initiative. I'm going to hand this over to Reed from UCA Waves. Over to you, Reed.
Thank you so much, Kelly. And thank you everybody for having me here. My name is Reed Bowman. I am the Program and Grant Manager at UCA Waves, a nonprofit organization based in Cary that aims to address the gaps in mental health services for Asian American youth. We have done some really incredible work this year. I'm presenting on behalf of Lily Chen, our executive director. She is actually in China until I think for at least through the rest of this week. And she offered to come and present. And I said that's going to be 3 a.m. your time, so you should take some rest. But I'm really happy to share some of the things that we've really been working on. Mainly our our peer support groups, which is one of our biggest initiatives that we've had so far. We have 3 different locations that we have our peer support groups, and these are for all different populations. Mostly we are a Mandarin and Cantonese speaking organization, but these are not limited. Our services are not limited to Chinese only communities or only Chinese American communities. But so for instance, at the Cary Senior Center, we have a group for parents with children aged 13 years and older that has had 7 in-person sessions since the beginning of this year. We also have some groups in Morrisville held at the Hindu Society of North Carolina. And those groups are in person. We have 3 different groups with about over 150 participants in total for parents with children aged 6 to 12 years old. And then we also have one that's based in, we call it our Chapel Hill group, but it is virtual. We've had about 10 sessions, and that one actually focuses on couples and intimate partner relationships. Our evaluation, we did some reflexive analysis or reflexive theme analysis, and through various focus groups during these support groups as well. And the common themes of teen communication struggles, intergenerational trauma, lack of self-care, and difficulty in intimate relationships really pervade these conversations. And according to our participants, these groups provide a space for education, support, resource sharing, which is a huge one. And then it's especially impactful because it does fill this gap of these services not being readily or as easily accessible to Chinese-speaking communities. In addition to our support groups, we also have an online book club that has about 1,200 people who have been a part of this group across 21 sessions since the beginning of this year. And it's a community space where literature opens the door to reflection, shared learning, and intergenerational dialogue. It invites participants to explore identity, family dynamics, and mental health through curated readings and peer discussion. It's been a really, really wonderful group, and we have some fantastic volunteers who are leading it. I do want to touch really quickly on some of our educational efforts as well. Just in October, we had our first QPR training, the Question, Persuade, and Refer, which is a suicide prevention and intervention technique model. And it aims to equip WAVES volunteers and community members with life-saving skills through questioning, persuading, referring. And these training sessions were offered in Chinese and English. They were bilingual. We had one in October, one in November, and then one in December. We had 30 participants in total, and 25 of them completed the training 100% completely, which has been really, really wonderful. We got some excellent feedback, and we're very excited to look and see how we can implement it even more in this coming year, in the year of 2026. And then lastly, actually, you know what, if I have time, 2 more things, but one more thing for sure. Silent War, Asian American Reckonings with Mental Health is a documentary project that we've been working on for many years. Lily Chen, the executive director, is a producer for this, and Allison Connolly and Dr. Chung Fu are our documentary makers that we have partnered with. And it premiered at our annual conference back in September, and then we had a second screening at Duke University in November. It is, I'm blanking on the name of the award that it just received, but it is now the award-winning documentary. It tells the story of several different families' experiences with mental illness and recovery, and talking about the stigma within Asian American communities to discuss or pursue mental health treatment. Since our screening at Duke University, we have received more than 30 screening requests from organizations and community groups across the United States. And we have one coming up. I am blanking on the date of it, but if you are interested, please check out our website. I can also send some information out about it afterwards. And then lastly, I'm very excited to announce that we are going to have a Photo Voice project, which is a community-based participatory research method um, for Asian American youth to discuss research that has recently come out about loneliness, about depression, about stigma, and intergenerational conversations about mental health. I'm going to be leading that project, and I'm have a meeting tomorrow with some UNC Chapel Hill Gillings, the School of Public Health students, to see if they would be willing to hop on board with this project to do locally. We are very excited about that. We've got a lot of stuff coming up. Lunar New Year is happening in February, so please check out our calendar, check out our socials. We've put in a lot of really hard work, and we're very proud and thankful for all the support that we've received. And I believe that is my time, and I would like to pass it off to Amy.
Hi, can you hear me? Yes. Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Amy Miller. I am the CEO of OE Enterprises. We are a local North Carolina-based nonprofit that serves individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities and other barriers to employment. The mission of OE Enterprises is enhancing the lives of individuals with disabilities through advocacy, education, and employment. I'm going to go ahead and tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a former EC teacher with 20 years of experience in the public school setting. I worked predominantly in the middle school and high school setting before I came to OE Enterprises to begin our transition program. A little bit about OE now. OE's been around for 50 years. It was started in Orange County, Hillsborough, North Carolina, by a group of families that were concerned about what was going to happen next for their loved one after graduation. They started under the name of Orange Industries, and the individuals that attended those programs, that program came for activities, but also to do employment within that setting. They worked mostly with textile work at that time. Since then, since starting, we have expanded our services into various counties. We are currently in Orange County, Alamance County, and Randolph County. We also serve the surrounding areas of each of those. Our services currently include our transition program, where we work with youth with disabilities through our pre-employment transition services, and our project search program. We serve approximately 350 students annually in various counties. We are in Durham Public Schools, Chatham County schools. We're in Alamance County, Burlington School System, Guilford County Schools, and Orange County Schools at this time. We also have our Meaningful Day program, and that is where individuals come into our brick and mortar building to participate in what we call a meaningful day. So they may be coming in to do activities, they may go out on outings, they're going to be doing some community networking, and they also have the opportunity to work at our production work if they so choose. Our third program, we also have our community employment, where we work with our local EIPD offices and our MCOs to provide competitive integrated employment within the counties that we serve. Other programs that we have is we have a fantastic program called the Ability One program, which is a federal set-aside program that was started 50 years as well. We provide services, contract services through custodial work to federal buildings, such as the FAA or federal courthouses throughout North Carolina and into South Carolina. We also have our Carolina Cleaning Associates, where we do custodial services for Orange County government. And then last, we have our production work, which I mentioned earlier. And that's where we have work that comes into our three brick and mortar buildings. And our participants have the opportunity to complete that work if they so choose for minimum wage or higher. So that leads us into how we got here. We are actually here talking about the Inclusion Works Provider Innovation Initiative. And we were one of 4 programs that were selected for the initiative. And the reason that we decided to apply for this initiative is that previously our production work at our sites and within our facilities was considered CIE. However, due to some recent and significant decline in production customer base and the loss of the ability for some of our participants to work, we decided we needed to pivot and look at other ways to do that. So what we did is OE applied for this initiative with an emphasis on individual choice in education. Our key priorities were to develop resources and educational opportunities for our guardians, caregivers, and individual served to better understand the benefits of competitive integrated employment. We wanted to go ahead and strengthen our staff competencies through person-centered planning, communication with employers, and innovative job development techniques. We also wanted to expand the number of and types of community-based employment opportunities available. We wanted to have a consistent and accountable pathway from interest in employment to job placement. And then we wanted to launch educational and outreach efforts to build family and community awareness of inclusive employment. The Inclusion Works process has allowed OE to identify its strengths and also to identify its growth areas, including stakeholder engaged education, consistent internal systems, and cross-department alignment. We're in the very early stages of this program, but so far we've made some great progress, and we know that this is about a mindset shift. This is the early work that's being done today will set the stage for long-term impact. What we have actually already seen is that, I'm pulling up my numbers so that I get these accurate, because I just got these latest updates. We actually had our individuals served participate in the competitive integrated assessment that UNC has been putting together. We have approximately, like I said, 80 individuals that we serve through our Meaningful Day program, and 42 of those consented to complete the CIE assessment. So that's over a 50% completion rate. So that is fantastic. Again, this is about a mindset shift because some of our families in our Meaningful Day programs are worried about their safety, how they're going to be treated out in the community. So we're really talking to our families and opening up the doors in that communication. The other thing is that's happened from these assessments is that 9 of our individuals that went through the assessment process have already been referred to EIPD for services, for competitive integrated employment services. So we're very excited about that. So that's over 21% of those. So we continue to work through this process. It's progress is underway. We've already developed a framework for professional development for our staff and our new onboarding system that is going to help change their mindset and help us move ahead in our CIE process. And that's all I have. So I am actually going to introduce Billy Avery with Morris Clinic.
There I am. I am Billy Alexander Avery, and I'm the program director at Morris Clinic of North Raleigh. And we are a part of the statewide plan in making treatment accessible to individuals who are otherwise hard to reach. We were privileged to launch the very first mobile OTP unit, which stands for Opioid Treatment Program, mobile unit in the state of North Carolina. And we launched it on July 7th. We partnered with, there are 2 large partners for us, Mission Mobile, which is the organization that basically built and operates the mobile van. And then Healing Transitions, which is the treatment program, the residential program that we aligned with. We basically call them a host agency. So when you have a mobile medication unit, you need to have a place where it is going to go on a daily basis. We originally thought we would have 2 sites, and we decided early on to start with 1 site, and I'm glad that we did, because we did learn a lot during that process. We also are getting ready. I'll end with our second site that we have identified. But in the first 6 months, we celebrated 6 months last week on January 7th, and we have served over 150 clients. Most of the clients that we have served begin at Healing Transitions. So they're either in the Healing Transition shelter, the detox, or in their residential program. But that also is a program that doesn't necessarily have everybody staying for a really long time. So we have, like I said, treated over 150 clients. What I want to say about those 150, over 50% of the people that have been discharged have gone to other OTPs, so other programs, to continue to receive medication. So our goal is, one, to make treatment accessible. If they choose to leave the area or to choose to leave the program, Healing Transitions, there are other options for them. Right now, we have an active population right now of 67 clients in the mobile unit. 20 of those are community members and 47 are living at Healing Transitions. So one of the things that's happening is, even if they leave Healing Transitions, they are able to continue to come to the mobile. So that's a real plus. That's, again, something that we've learned. Of the 150 clients that we've intaked into the mobile, 53% have come from other treatment centers. So 53% of that 150 came from other centers across the state, some out of the state. And 47% have come to us without any current treatment connection. So what we're trying to do is make treatment accessible, we certainly are making treatment accessible to both those moving in the area and those who are coming without any current connection with a treatment program. Let's see, some of the challenges that we've had since this was, again, it's been a real delight. It has been an incredible, delightful process. We have an incredible staff, an excellent staff, who's really committed to the clients that we serve and to making treatment as respectful and available as possible. So one of the things that we've learned through this process is that if you have a mobile unit and you don't have an outside site for people to stand, you will have people in line outdoors. So a couple things that we have learned: we have canopies, we have propane heaters, and we have fans during that part of the North Carolina weather. But we have had to deal with weather and the issues surrounding that. We've also had to deal with space. In the unit, we have a space for a counselor, we have a space for the nurse, and we have a space for the medical provider when they are present on there. So we've had to work with Healing Transitions and our bricks and mortar staff to provide some services through telehealth, so that the clients can be at Healing Transitions and still receive counseling through telehealth with someone who's at our bricks and mortar program. We have also, so collaborating with Morse Clinic, bricks and mortar has been really critical in us seeing people in a timely manner, intaking people in a timely manner, and continuing to serve clients. I'm trying to think. I want to share just a couple stories. One that a client who came in last week told the intake counselor that the reason that he chose to come to Healing Transitions, which he knew would be a hard program for him to finish, but he really wanted to do that. But what was really the selling point was that there was Morse Clinic on site for him to be able to receive his medication right there on site. He said that was really a deal breaker with him. So that was something that really made us smile. again, those, we have clients who on a daily basis will let us know that they feel like that their life has been saved by the medication that they're getting and by the treatment that they're getting. The last thing I want to say is that, like I said, we were getting ready. We wanted to start with 2 sites, and we decided that we really needed to get our feet solid. And we are in the process right now of planning to open a second site with Healing Transitions Women's Program, and go there after we go to the men's program and provide services to that population. And so we're really very excited about that. The other thing I want to say is that we have reached out to a number of we've reached out to a number of individuals who are coming to see how the mobile operates, because they're in the process of starting their own mobile. And with that, I would like to turn over to Benjamin Horton with Asheville Buncombe Community Christian Ministry.
Good afternoon, and thank you very much, Miss Billy. I truly appreciate that. I hope everybody is doing well today. I am the program director for Asheville Buncombe Community Christian Ministries Projects for Assistance in Transitioning from Homelessness program. We are honored to have one of the largest peer support street outreach teams in North Carolina. What I've been asked to present on is something that is very near and dear to my heart, and something that I have been part of from the beginning, with a true collaborative effort of so many amazing peer support specialists. Obviously, I'm a peer support specialist myself, but I want to start back in 2023 when we received the feedback on the peer support initiative interviews through so many community partners. Sunrise, Shireen Carricou's Promise Resource Network, Operation Gateway. And I want the community to know that thankfully for the state of North Carolina to have Director Crosby really leading this and pushing this for peer support specialists, your voice was heard. That peer support initiative led to the beginnings of a 16-person peer support team that developed the foundations of peer support, the new training for the state of North Carolina. It initially started with a lot of conversations, like I said, through many community partners, which then led to the peer support work group, which if you look on the screen in the slide, there is many of the peer support work group that was able to work with the team from the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services. And I'd really like to shout them out because they are a huge part of this. Miss Anne Marie Webb, Miss Jennifer Mead, and their whole entire team. And then from the UNC School of Chapel Hill Social Work, Behavioral Health Springboard and Peer Support Specialist Group, Ms. Bernice Abergine, Mr. Charles Sapp, Brandon Rollins, and Erica Desidero. They have been tremendous supports for the building of this peer support program. We started this back in August of 2024, putting together a foundation. And it was really about bringing the lens from multiple different angles of peer support. The individuals that were involved with this just had a tremendous amount of experience in this field, and brought that to be able to help build one of the best curriculums that I've been able to see and be a part of from across the country. And we've talked to many different states on their peer support programs, their curriculum, how it is built, the foundations of it. And we took what would be best and built our own and made it really focused for the state of North Carolina. With that part of it, the online piece is when many young peer supports are not 100% sure, with those with lived experience, are not sure they want to become certified peer supports, and are able to do the 20-hour curriculum online to make sure it is something that's right for them. Once they understand that this is a true profession, and as we become more professionalized, they're able to take that step into the in-person class. That in-person class has really followed the model of professionalization for peers. We are now starting to sit in with technical advisors, being able to monitor the program. The first in-person curriculum started in November and is going strong now. It has been a tremendous blessing for me to be able to be a part of this and be part of the 16 others that wrote this. The various experiences really prepares peers in a very consistent manner of what peer support is across the state. With the different tracks that we have currently, track A provides the foundations, the in-person class, and then there is a new test that we are finishing up and bringing online for peer supports to be able to know that they are knowledgeable to step into the field and provide the support to those that need our services. One of the greatest things about this curriculum was being able to bring it to the public for free, right? We've struggled a very long time with many peers not being able to afford the older curriculums that are sometimes up to $350. And when you're just starting out in recovery, 18 months, and you're working towards a pathway that provides a living wage job, that $350 can really set you back. Not all organizations are able to pay for their peers to do that. And that was a big sticking point that we wanted to address, and the state stood tall and made this happen to where this curriculum is for free. People are able to come in, take that curriculum, know they can go to work and support people the best that they possibly can. And it's been an incredible journey for us. We are now working on a new supervisory curriculum that will be able to help those that are supervising peers kind of have a lens from the peer support standpoint. The work group has truly been the foundation for all this, and I'd really like to shout them out if I could just take a minute and really say Miss Laura Brower, Mr. Joseph Martinez, Miss Patty Schaefer, Kathy Thomas, Rosemary Weaver, Bobby Harrington, Karen Russell, Lance Sestita, Miss Diane Yarber, Jennifer Mead, Anne Marie, Miss Bernice, and Erica, and myself are very honored to be a part of this new curriculum and just give our lens of what's important. We were able to test it. The 16 peers that wrote it, you guys will always have a true place in the state of North Carolina as founders for this new curriculum, and I'm very thankful and honored to be a part of that. And I'm going to pass it over to Miss Michelle Ivy.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am going to give you a brief overview of the Moores program. I will try to be brief in my presentation. My name is Michelle Ivy. I'm Chief Program Officer of Daymark Recovery Services. I'm a licensed clinical social worker. I have about 30 years experience in the field, and I'm also a person with lived experience. So thank you so much for having me today. So Daymark offers the Moores program in Cabarrus County and in Davidson County. And the Moores program is unique in that it offers a crisis service to children and their families to try to help reduce out-of-home placement, to try to reduce possible DSS involvement, and to try and make sure that the family is getting the services that they need in a timely fashion. So the Moores team consists of a qualified professional, a family support partner. So think peer support for families that have had children who've received services through the behavioral health system. You have that family support partner. You have access to psychiatric consultation. You also have access to qualified professionals who can help with the care coordination piece that is needed. So our programs, like I said, operate in Cabarrus and Davidson County. We've had a lot of success in partnering with social services. We have found that if we, from the beginning, can get involved with families who are experiencing any type of crisis that may result in DSS involvement, a lot of times we can prevent further escalation of the crisis. Our goal of our staff is to be able to respond, whether it's day or night to that family. We do have staff on call in the evening to be able to respond to families that are in the Moores program or that may be needing to access the Moores program. We also try to work with our mobile crisis provider to ensure that anytime something would happen, either very, very early in the morning or late at night, that we can get that family connected to Moores very quickly. So what you can expect with the Moores program is an immediate response via telephone, to not have is to be able to reduce the wait time for services. Again, you have a clinician that's assigned to the Moores program. So if a child is in need of a clinical assessment, we can get that done in a timely fashion. Or if it's the parent that needs that clinical assessment, we can also offer that in a very timely fashion. So those are a couple of things that we can offer: the short-term crisis management, referrals, and the main thing is making sure that we can support youth in the community and try to keep that youth with their family and in the community. We want to reduce long-term placements. We've had a lot of success, like I said, with Moores and especially partnering with our social services. And so, like I said, I wanted to be brief, and so I will pass it over to Reverend Dave and Keith from the Jubilee Home.
Thank you so much, Michelle. We really appreciate it. It's always humbling to get to be on screen and see all the work that's happening across the state and all the people that are working to make a more just and dignified existence for folks in our areas and communities. And so I deeply appreciate everyone on here. It's an honor to get to join y'all. I'm Reverend Dave Crispell. I'm the ED of Jubilee Home, and I'm joined by my colleague Keith Collins. He serves as one of our peer navigators. Here at Jubilee Home, we collaborate with justice-involved folk to create healing and connection through quality supportive housing. So we do that in a variety of ways. We have a permanent supportive housing with a men's transitional housing program, and then in October we actually were able to, with the DMH team's help, launch our first women's transitional home. And so Keith's been a big part of that, and I wanted to hand off and let him talk about that experience.
Thank you so much, Dave, and thank you guys so much for inviting us into the space. Name is Keith Collins, the men's peer support navigator for the men's home. Just to go over what Dave was saying, in terms of the women's home, we've been able to create a space of genuine healing for folks. So that process kind of looks like folks getting acclimated to our services by being able to reclaim dignity through healing. Folks have been able to acclimate to our process by, gathering their paperwork, being able to be a part of some of our external services through rehabilitation. There's a lot of intersectionality between incarceration and addiction, and folks have felt the transformative process of being able to be situated into our living space. So we are excited to announce that a lot of our folks have transitioned into adequate housing through our process. We've actually had 2 of our residents become authors, authoring their books and getting their stories out there as well. So Jubilee has truly been a catalyst for change in that regard. So we're excited to see where we go from here.
Yeah, and we want to take a moment and acknowledge just where we're at, sort of in our state and our community. There's a lot of anxiety surrounding folks coming out of prison and out of jails right now, and a lot of hurt over some really traumatic events for folks that maybe didn't receive the treatment or care or support that they needed, and the downstream effects that really impacted our community. So we know that we're preaching to the choir here. The folks in this space, we know are advocating, doing work, and doing incredible work to make sure there are places in their communities for folks who are overloaded with barriers, have a place to seek support. So thank y'all so much for the work y'all all do. We none of us do this alone, and so it's really uplifting for us to get to be with y'all, especially as the news is pretty heavy right now in sort of our world. As we acknowledge and note that, we also do want to turn towards some hope. Not only have we just opened a women's home, we also April 1st, we'll expect our first cohort for Jubilee Flowers, which will be a social enterprise where we can have some low barrier access to work in our community garden and flower business for folks who are justice involved and have a hard time kind of working in the places we're able to find background friendly employment. So we're hoping to be a supportive employer in that. And in a week, we as a staff are very excited to have some office space that will be outside of the living environments for our people, so that we can help hold boundaries even stronger for our residents and let them have homes and not sort of working homes, which is maybe a minor inconvenience and a stress, but if it doesn't need to be there, it's a real blessing for us to be able to pull that out. So we've been very excited about the work we've been able to do in the last 6 months and growing and offering these new things. And we're really appreciative to all of those who are on this call that have been a part of that. None of us do this alone. So we really thank the work that y'all are doing and that we get to do. And we're excited to hand off to Shannon Rudisil with Green Tree.
Hi, everybody. I am really excited to be here with you guys today to talk about the refuge and here in Winston-Salem. Just a little quick information about me. My name is Shannon Rudisil, and I'm a person with lived experience in mental health challenges and substance use disorder, and I've been a certified peer support since 2014. And in my new and current position, I'm the coordinator of the refuge here at Green Tree. So what is the refuge? The refuge is a 72-hour peer-run crisis respite center. It's designed as a safe and trauma-sensitive alternative for people navigating emotional distress, significant mental health challenges, or substance use disorder. At its heart, the refuge is built on a simple but powerful belief. We believe that healing happens through connection, choice, and most important, dignity. We're a non-clinical staff. We don't have any clinical staff, and everything is peer-led, which means we don't provide any medical or psychiatric treatment. Instead, every person who comes in our doors are met by someone who has lived experience and somebody who understands what it's like to struggle and what it feels like to need to be supported without judgment. So what does that support look like? We offer a quiet and welcoming environment, and we started with 4 bedrooms, and now we've expanded to 5. We have access to showers, washing machine, and dryer. The guests have a space to rest, decompress, feel safe, and our trained staff are available around the clock for conversation, grounding, and emotional support. We provide light meals and snacks, and we offer access to wellness activities like journaling, art, meditation, and other calming practices. During the day, we assure that our guests are introduced to our wellness center here at Green Tree, and that they know that that support's available for them after their stay at the refuge. And when the guests are ready, we help them identify what they might need. What are their next steps? What kind of resources are they looking for, or are they even looking for resources? And we connect them to those, whether it's housing support, SA treatment options, community programs. Maybe they need a provider and they need to be connected to a provider. Maybe they need to be reconnected to their caseworker at their MCO. We do all of that and make sure we get them back to the things that they want to connect with. Sometimes it's simply just figuring out what is their next step. So who do we serve? The refuge is open to adults 18 and older, and the participation is completely voluntary. The guests can leave at any time. We ask that they be able to take care of their own basic needs and maintain safety for themselves and others. It's important to know, though, that we're not a shelter. We're a short-term crisis diversion program focusing on stabilization, rest, and planning. And a typical stay unfolds gently but very intentionally. On the first day, it's all about getting settled in. Let's meet those immediate needs. Most guests often arrive to us exhausted, overwhelmed, overstimulated. So we focus on the nourishment, rest, and hygiene. On day 2, guests begin to explore their needs with the staff. Together, we start shaping that next step plan, and we start connecting them to resources as well as our wellness center. And on day 3, we continue that connection to resources and prepare them for checkout. When needed, we transport them to substance use treatment if possible, transitional housing for up to 60 miles away from here in Winston. Since October, we've had 43 guests, and we've only had 4 guests that went back to a homelessness situation from leaving us. Everyone else went to either treatment or some type of transitional housing. Referring to the refuge is simple. Most of our guests come from local hospitals, behavioral health, emergency departments, or individuals who've been in inpatient treatment who could benefit for some time to create a safe transition plan. We also accept referrals from first responders, community providers who identify people who might just need a calm and supportive space. They don't qualify to be admitted into the inpatient at the hospital, but to that person, they're still in a crisis. So that's where we come in. We have a crisis referral line that's 24 hours a day. If you call that line, you'll get me 24 hours a day. And we'll talk about the person that needs to be referred and if we're a good fit. And then we'll make arrangements to have them check in. And that's a 24-hour check-in time too. At the refuge, we hold space for people at some of the most vulnerable moments in their lives. We don't fix anything, we don't diagnose anything, and we don't tell anybody what they need to do. We walk alongside them. We offer compassion, autonomy, and the belief that every single person deserves to be met with dignity, respect, and humanity. That's what we do at the refuge. It's a new and exciting program. We've had some amazing experiences so far. One of our guests left this weekend, and he's told us as he was leaving that he never thought that just a couple of days in a safe space would help him plan out his next steps in life, but that he felt like it had saved him from doing some things that he didn't want to do. And that's really the goal, is to make somebody have that dignity and be able to help them just stop that hamster wheel a little bit and come up with a plan. So you can see on those slides what our rooms look like. And there's a gentleman there in the picture who was our very first guest. And he still comes and sees us at the Wellness Center on a regular basis. So if you'd like to know any more about the refuge, please feel free to reach out to me at Greentree, and our website is greentreepeersupport.org, and I would be happy to answer any questions. And now I'm going to turn it back over to Kelly, and so we can wrap it up.
Thank you so much, Shannon. And I want to thank all of our speakers. I know that we are 3 minutes over, but y'all, we had 7 speakers and then 8 if you count me. So that's pretty extraordinary to pack into an hour. I have to say that, let's go on to the next slide, but I really want to thank our 7 speakers today. And I was reminiscing the whole time you were talking about my visitor visits, our team visits to your sites, to your programs. And it was just extraordinary meeting you all, meeting consumers and family members who were supported by your programs. And I am just forever grateful for the work that you do, but also for just inviting our team to come and meet you and the wonderful work that you do. So thank you to all of our speakers today for your great programs. So the last thing I want to say is, I think, Nick, this year's going to be tough. It's already tough. We're going to likely Though I don't wish it, we're likely going to face continued funding challenges, especially with Medicaid, maybe on some other federal funding sources. I don't know. But this is our commitment. Our commitment is to still to move forward in our system, to not drastically be changing course, but to stay on course, to be creative with our time and our funding. So how can we braid our state dollars, our county dollars, our federal grant dollars with Medicaid to continue to support all of these incredible programs? Much of what you heard today is not something Medicaid can fund anyway. It just isn't. Some of it is, like Moores, sort of. Moores can fund, some crisis work can be funded, not really Moores. But a lot of this is really the infrastructure, the interstitial tissue, that's how someone describes it, but really the architecture of our system. It needs all of us, it needs all of our funding sources. So just know that I know things are going to be hard this year. There's going to be some challenges, but we're very committed to working with you all, being smart, being mindful with our time, talent, energy, and our funding. So just want to thank you and I really look forward to working with you all again this year. And I'm going to turn this back over to LaToya.
If we did not get an opportunity to answer your question during the webinar, questions and feedback are welcome at bhidd.helpcenter@dhhs.nc.gov. The recording and presentation slides for today's event will be posted on our Community Engagement and Training webpage. For more information and resources, stay connected with DMH DD SUS by attending our monthly side-by-side webinars and joining our mailing list. The links are included in the chat box. There will be a brief survey following today's webinar, and we would appreciate your time completing it. Our next side-by-side webinar is scheduled for Monday, February 2nd from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. We look forward to seeing you then. This concludes our webinar for today. Thank you for attending.